brings the company to the exchange and gets it listed and conducts himself as a transparent mechanism. You don't need to have swanky balance sheet, etc., but you just need to have some simple reporting to say that I'm able to tell to my investors what's happening. And as more and more people start realizing that there is money to make and there is an ability to participate, you'll get that there. I yet believe it's a longer term approach, but it's a very solid foundation to achieve. And as you use the example of NASDAQ, it was a very small thing for technology companies initially. But as those companies grew and everybody realized that you tend to benefit, and yet there is liquidity. Because as of today also, we see in the private sector domain, in the SME space, various people have smaller shareholders. May it be employees, may it be family who's otherwise not connected with the business. All of them don't know what to do as the business grows and what happens to their equity. And they can keep pushing the principal shareholder and the management to say that, provide me liquidity. But the guy is saying, I'm running the business, I don't have any money in my pocket to provide you guys liquidity. And at the same point of time, I yet don't want to go ahead and raise large sums of money because the business does not require. So what do? In that event, the SME exchange comes forward. It becomes a transparent mechanism, and lots of people will find an ability to exchange value for what they have.
Sure. Okay, Deepak, if you're talking about where it is today, you said that business models need to evolve. What do you think needs to change, or how do you see it evolving in the Indian context? Clearly, the top-rung investment bankers will not really be jumping at this idea, but maybe tier 2, tier 3 will be the ones who will make this work.
Correct. So if you look at it from an investor standpoint purely, I mean, what is the investor asking? One of the main things that he's asking for is there enough transparency in the way an SME conducts its business, or any company conducts its business? Right. Today, I find it a little baffling when we say that, look, only when the investor comes, we have to provide them with reports, right? I mean, why can't this be a part of your ecosystem? I mean, that's not the way the West thinks, right? So governance standards that we talk of in India is completely different when you talk about governance standards elsewhere, right? That's one of the points. The other one is from an investor standpoint. Again, why should an investor invest in your company, right? How are you different from any other manufacturing company? How are you different from any other .com company, right? So what is your business model? How is your business model different? I mean, are you effectively reaching out faster to your customer? Are you helping him to reduce his cost? I mean, what is it that you're doing differently? So we need to take all these things in perspective before we say that whether an investor is going to invest or not invest in your venture or in your company.
Top Bollywood hits, back to back, non-stop music every day 8 a.m. onwards, only on Zoom.
Want to enter the world of limitless opportunities like I did? TradeIndia.com is the answer. The most effective platform for global buyers and sellers. TradeIndia.com gives you access to the world, making it a smaller place.
Hi, this is Varun Aaron from the Delhi Daredevils. Log on to IndiaTimes.com to watch DLF IPL action and cheer for our team.
Want to enter the world of limitless opportunities like I did? TradeIndia.com is the answer. The most effective platform for global buyers and sellers. TradeIndia.com gives you access to the world, making it a smaller place.
Monday to Friday, the market swings both ways. It's time to change the ways to invest.
ET Now presents Your Trades the Week Ahead.
A zesty new show that helps you spice up your portfolio.
With all our new recipes for success.
Market fundamentals, chopped, skinned and well done.
So, put your money where your mouth is.
Book your weekend slots with ET Now and taste the spirit of success.
Coming back to the exchange and this whole two big issues. One about underwriting, that the entire issue has to be underwritten. 15% has to be underwritten by the merchant banker. What do you make of that? And the second about making markets 75% of the time during a day. How easy, can we just get this point and then we'll come to yours.
See, I think it is very important to be liquid. Once you are an exchange, the liquidity has to be guaranteed. Now that's the, the mechanism which with the exchange and the market players or the market participant has to evolve to give credibility to the exchange.
So does it change? Is it okay in its present form, or do you think it needs to be tweaked?
I think it is absolutely, it's okay in the current form, the way it has been shaped up in the rules.
Because the general belief is, and maybe Shripal you can talk about it, is that a lot of merchant bankers are not comfortable because you really don't know what's going to happen. Forget 3 years down the line, you don't know what's going to happen 1.5 years down the line.
The main problem is 3 years. See, if a market is going to be made in a particular stock, it can be made in 6 to 8 months. And if a market is not going to be made despite doing market making for 6 to 8 months, then it's never going to be made. So the 3 year is the reason when you ask me why so many merchant bankers have not come ahead. Because I cannot trust Greece for 3 years. So how can I trust an SME?
Absolutely. And the nature of the SME is that the business is in itself, far riskier. So what about costs of raising funds? You spoke about the fact that you can raise money in 3 months. Right. What's the cost differential in coming to an SME exchange to raise the money as opposed to alternate modes of funding?
Percentage-wise, costs are high because you're raising smaller amount of money. So in that sense, the costs are very similar between the main board and the small board. Only thing is in the SME exchange, there's an additional cost of market making, so which the company will have to bear. And since the timing is less, so that your merchant banking costs go down.
You mean the company has to bear the cost of
right, the company will pay the market maker a particular fee.
So that's the extra cost that you
And similarly, you'll save money on printing, you'll save money on the other particulars because you're not doing a larger issue. So when you do a main board issue, there are so many expenses which are total waste of everybody's money, I mean, I can give you a statistic that every issue which hit the market in the last 2 years spent 1.5 crore rupees on printing and postage. Purely paper. It's not required. Why? Because you have to target 1,000 shareholders. Now you have to target 50 shareholders. You don't need to print so many. Plus over time we've moved to e-application also this year. So the costs are down in the right place and costs are up in the right place. I can say that.
Okay. Just staying with the question of costs, Deepak, you brought out this point that the venture capitalist funding that an SME often taps into actually is more expensive than maybe coming to an exchange and trying to raise money from public or maybe friends or from a smaller group of investors. How does that math work?
Okay, so just to put things in perspective, if you look at any company when it wants to access funding from a private equity or from a venture capitalist, I think the positioning is completely different, right? The venture capitalist is actually coming in as a business partner. Right, so anybody who comes in at that level extracts a pound of flesh. Okay, so the term sheet which is essentially signed between an investor and the company talks about a minimum, let's say, a guaranteed rate of return year on year. Right, so in that sense, I think the cost of raising something from a venture capitalist is always higher as compared to when you actually go and access funds from the market. Because when you go directly to the market, there are no frills attached to it. Right, you make your own decision. And you've got the ability to raise funds, and there is no time limit within which you need to raise funds and stuff like that.
And Chetas, you were talking about the fact that a company needs to really know what type of funding that it needs to go for, whether it needs to go for debt funding.
And when. So when you talk about venture capitalist and it being more expensive source of capital vis-a-vis a listed situation, I'm saying you go to a venture capitalist or private equity when you believe that you can't raise money on the listed stock. Or this is not the time when I want to go because there are a few risks that I really would believe somebody else understands on a one-to-one basis. He'll be able to support me and will enhance the value and then go to the public market. And that is the way venture capitalists have been playing a role. And that is why they always said that I'm going to add value. I understand better. I know that there is more risk to it, and to that extent, I give you lower valuation, and so it becomes an expensive proposition. When you go to the listed entity, I believe that what he was also talking about, market making being a difficult thing for 3 years, I think it's a very unique phenomenon that has come in to put responsibilities to merchant bankers within the community itself. There's a hard underwriting of 100% of the issue. Now what that means is that the merchant banker has to spend time and understand what that company is about and not just prepare the regulatory paperwork. And not say that the investor beware, let him understand what I'm telling him. If he believes it's good, let it be. Now here the merchant banker has to say, I believe in this story. I have done my work, I believe in the promoter, and my money is going to be at stake also, so you guys put in more money.
Deepak, just one question on this underwriting. How is it done globally? Is the entire issue usually underwritten?
So it varies from exchange to exchange. Okay, so if you actually look at how it's all started off, I mean who's at the center. I mean today we need to look at that. So why is this SME exchange coming? Okay, so one is the SMEs themselves are going to benefit, but eventually who's it for? It is for the investor. Okay, so any right-thinking exchange would devise rules for the investor. Okay, and that's how other exchanges have evolved as well. Okay, now if you look globally at what rules on underwriting exist for different SMEs, they vary from one country to another country, right? So the percentage of underwriting, in fact, actually moves. Okay, so some exchanges may say there is no underwriting required. For example, AIM doesn't talk about an underwriting requirement at all because the exchange has evolved so much. Right, London was one of the foremost exchanges to come out with this. NASDAQ doesn't talk about an underwriting requirement. But some of the smaller ones, now if you look at something in Brazil, okay, so that's very similar in terms of cultures, in terms of how Brazil is moving, you can actually mirror that with India. So they have got some requirements which are similar to what India is trying to do, right? So I understand that when SME exchange was in a phase where they were thinking of what needs to be done, they've actually gone out and studied some of these global exchanges, and that's how the rules have evolved here. So the best of all the exchanges have been taken here and they've imbibed.
And they're market makers as well.
Yeah, they're market makers as well. That's right.
Well, I think the mandate is fairly clear, though it's a challenging task for our investment bankers. They need to do their homework very well, but concept is, I think, absolutely ripe, and the timing for it couldn't have been better because this is the time when you are seeing huge ramp up in terms of business that SMEs are doing at this point of time, and it will be a good mechanism, a good pricing mechanism, not just for them, but also trying to price their funding for alternate modes of funding for the SME. So it's going to really, provide the answer to a big need for the SME at this point of time. And how it progresses, of course, we'll see a lot of regulatory, the regulatory environment in which it's working is constantly changing. So it will be molded depending upon the needs of the exchange. So I think with that, I'd like to thank my panelists.
Monday to Friday, the market swings both ways. It's time to change the ways to invest.
ET Now presents Your Trades the Week Ahead.
A zesty new show that helps you spice up your portfolio.
With all our new recipes for success.
Market fundamentals, chopped, skinned and well done.
So, put your money where your mouth is.
Book your weekend slots with ET Now and taste the spirit of success.
The impact on the markets short term will be fairly minor, although I would encourage India obviously to implement GAAR as soon as possible. Most equity markets are very undervalued relative to history at the moment, and that drag on the Indian market is obviously correcting as we talk.
Want to enter the world of limitless opportunities like I did? TradeIndia.com is the answer. The most effective platform for global buyers and sellers. TradeIndia.com gives you access to the world, making it a smaller place.
It's not like I don't trust her.
I like to keep an eye on him.
So I pin her to my home screen.
To get constant updates from all his profiles at one place.
So now I know where she is.
And what he's doing all the time.
Hey!
Whoa! What a surprise!
New Nokia Lumia 800 with Windows Phone.
Want to enter the world of limitless opportunities like I did? TradeIndia.com is the answer. The most effective platform for global buyers and sellers. TradeIndia.com gives you access to the world, making it a smaller place.
Introducing the Dell XPS 13 Ultrabook, inspired by Intel, powered by second-generation Intel Core i7 processor, crafted to perfection.
Current affairs of a different kind. Sensex, that spells sex and sensuality. market that picks cues on gossip. And it's all in a day's work that defines the week that was. On Bollywood This Week, Saturday 7:30 p.m. and Sunday 3 p.m. on ET Now.